I give way to Leader of the SNP.
State for giving way. He's made reference to unique and exceptional and energy transitions, thousands of jobs. In the Scottish context, many minds right now will be very much focused on the situation in Grangemouth, where we know that hundreds of jobs are going to be lost directly, thousands of jobs in the supply chain. Now, were I, or perhaps even the local member for Alloa and Grangemouth, to bring forward a similar bill in respect of Scotland's only oil refinery, to save it, to give him the executive power to do as he pleases, as he is doing with British Steel, would the Labour Party back it in the same way as it is backing this bill today?
Well, I'm pleased for the chance, Mr. Speaker, to address this particular issue. The importance of Grangemouth is why this Labour government has pledged £200 million to secure its long-term future. And it is an important asset. It is not the only remaining. It's one of 3 crackers in the United Kingdom. That's important. But specifically, it is not a comparable situation. And the behaviour of the company is not comparable to the situation in this case. I also want to say to him, and indeed to all members, this is why we fought and fought and fought again to secure the future of British shipbuilding by saving all 4 of the Harland and Wolff sites in England, Scotland and all that. He will know the commercial interest was not in the Scottish yards, but we held them together precisely because of that commitment to Scotland and to the Union. It's also why, within weeks of taking office, we secured a better deal for the workers at Port Talbot. So we have repeatedly acted, and we will continue to do so no matter how hard the circumstances. I give way to the honourable member.
Well, friend, does he agree with me that the failure of the Tories and the SNP to develop an industrial strategy for Scotland meant that they had no plan for Grangemouth? They knew for over a decade about the problems at the refinery and did nothing. Does he agree with me that as soon as Labour came into power, we got to work and delivered support for the site, the workforce and the local community?
Here. Well, I endorse those comments entirely. I don't believe there is a history of the SNP calling for nationalisation of Grangemouth. They were as ever on the bandwagon. I think we would all recognise they don't campaign on their record in running Scotland, they campaign on grievance. And he is absolutely right that the contrast is a Labour government in this place that is on the side of working people everywhere. One more.
The Secretary of State mentioned Port Talbot, and in appreciating the unprecedented circumstances we find ourselves in today, when the government has very rightly moved quickly to safeguard primary steelmaking, the Secretary of State will be very mindful of the extraordinarily difficult circumstances the steel industry in South Wales has faced. In appreciating the £80 million fund available, can the Secretary of State make sure also that South Wales and Lamwerne benefits from its share of the £2.5 billion Clean Steel Fund? Can that be at the forefront of his mind also?
Speaker, I'm incredibly pleased for the chance to answer this point that has been raised. So the Port Talbot deal was originally negotiated by the previous government. I did try to reopen that. I went to see Chandra in Davos. I flew to Mumbai to talk to him about it. I kept, to be frank, Port Talbot open on polling day because it would have closed because of industrial action that almost took place. The present government were absolutely nowhere to be seen even before the result of the election was in. We were not able to reopen the deal, but we did negotiate a better deal. And just to be clear, as a result of that, Port Talbot is in a stronger position than British Steel because it has that long-term future in place, because we improved the deal that she botched at that time. And to be clear, the £2.5 billion Green Steel Fund the Chancellor has put in place is in addition to the £500 million already going to Port Talbot. That's an incredibly important point.
In a tense moment on the floor of the House of Commons, Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds found himself under sharp scrutiny from Stephen Flynn, leader of the SNAP at Westminster, who demanded, would the Labour Party back it? What seemed like a straightforward question quickly exposed a glaring contradiction in the government's industrial policy and its inconsistent handling of regional economic crises. Flynn wasn't asking out of political theatre. He was highlighting a brutal reality. The government had rushed to take emergency action to save a steel plant in England while turning a blind eye to the looming collapse of the Grangemouth oil refinery in Scotland and the last blast furnace in Port Talbot, Wales. This wasn't just about economics. It was about regional inequality disguised in bureaucratic language. Flynn, speaking for a Scotland increasingly disillusioned with Westminster, voiced the question that millions outside of London are asking. Why does England get rescued while we're left behind, as expected? Reynolds sidestepped a clear answer. Labour, a party desperate to preserve its image of balance and fairness, is caught in a trap of its own making. If they support the bailout of a plant in England while ignoring key industrial sites in Scotland and Wales, they betray their slogan of a fairer Britain for all. But if they oppose it, they risk appearing indifferent to English jobs, especially in regions they hope to win back electorally. It's a political catch-22. Ultimately, Flynn's challenge was not just about steel or oil. It was a warning shot about the political future of the United Kingdom.
Will Scunthorpe workers have jobs to go to next week, do you think?
Well, I'm speaking to you today from Talbot, from my constituency, and we've been through a transition here which has been very, very tough, and families and communities and steelworkers right across my constituency have been through a very tough and uncertain time. And so my heart goes out to those in steelworkers and their families and communities in Scunthorpe that are facing very challenging times as well. It's absolutely clear that we're focused on getting a commercial deal with Xingye, the owners of the Scunthorpe Steelworks. That commercial deal, I think, can put the steelworks on a solid footing to ensure that it's competitive and viable. And I know that the Business Secretary, Johnny Reynolds, and his team are absolutely focused, alongside Community Union, the Steelworkers Union, on negotiating a good deal with that steel company for the workers in that plant and for the broader economy. Steel is an absolutely vital, foundational industry for our economy, for our national security, and this government is committed to building a strong steel industry after many years of neglect from our Conservative predecessors, and we will ensure that happens. But the right way forward is for a commercial deal, so that you have a business managing in a fast-moving market, a highly competitive market. That is what's best for the future of the steel industry, and that is the deal in that partnership is what we need to build.
Stephen Kinnock's comment on British Steel, insisting that the right way forward is for a commercial deal, perfectly encapsulates the Labour Party's current crisis of political imagination. At a time when the British steel industry is teetering on the edge, with livelihoods and national resilience at stake, Kinnock clings to the tired orthodoxy of market solutions, as if the free market hasn't already failed this sector time and time again. His statement isn't just cautious. It's emblematic of a Labour Party so petrified of sounding too left that it ends up parroting the very neoliberal mantras that gutted Britain's industrial base in the first place. And while Labour dithers in its centrist haze, Nigel Farage sees an opening, and he's seizing it with the flair of a seasoned populist. By calling for nationalisation, Farage is doing what Labour should have done years ago, positioning himself as the voice of working-class discontent. His move is not driven by ideology, but by instinct, and it's working. Farage isn't offering a serious industrial strategy. He's hijacking the language of economic justice for political gain. But the real tragedy is that it's Labour, the party founded by and for workers, that's making it possible. In refusing to take bold action, Labour is not just ceding ground to the far right, it's paving the road for their rise. By continuing to champion toothless commercial solutions in the face of systemic collapse, Labour risks becoming irrelevant to the very people it claims to represent. In doing so, it clears the stage for opportunists like Farage to pose as defenders of national industry, and worse, as champions of a betrayed working class.